Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to another pixel art tutorial video. So in this video, I'm going to be creating a dungeon pixel art tile set with maybe a player and, well, we'll see about the player and the enemies. We'll start with the tile set first. This is going to be in preparation for my small, simple roguelike that I'm going to be making in Godot. And so I needed some graphics, and I decided that I could make a video doing that. So let's get started. I am going to be using a sprite for this tutorial. Even though I'm doing a tile set, I generally prefer pixel edit for tile sets, but I want to give a sprite's tile set functionality, which it's very basic, but I wanted to give it a try. I've been learning a sprite recently and want to give that a try. So if you want to support me and my channel, you can check out the links in the description. I'll also have a little pop-up to my website here that has my courses on it. You can go check those out. I have some pixel art courses and some game maker courses. Let's start by doing a new file, and I think I'm going to do 320 by 180. We'll do RGBA, transparent background, and okay. Now, the first thing we need to do, I'm going to get rid of the preview window for now. And I don't think we're going to need layers either, so we can just drag layers all the way down. That should give us a little bit more space to work with. My mouse has been giving me a few issues today, so hopefully that doesn't end up being a huge problem. I guess that answers the frequently asked question of, do you use a mouse or a tablet? I use a mouse for pixel art. So let's do view, grid settings, and they're set to 16 by 16. I'm just going to press OK, and there we've got our grid now. This is probably way larger than we need, but it's generally good to kind of start with a large canvas. Well, I should say it makes it easy to start kind of big like this and then add multiple characters all on the same canvas to make sure that they all look good in the same general room. So I've got Pinterest up on my other screen, and I've been looking at some general dungeon tile set work that has been done, and one of the things that I'm noticing is that there seems to be they seem to decide, let's turn this off right here, they seem to decide on some very specific colors for I guess values, I should say, for different areas of the tile set. So for example, the floor is generally lighter, and they each kind of do this their own way, but they contrast these different areas. A lot of the time the floor will be lighter, the walls will be darker, the tops of the walls will be lighter, and then the kind of void outside of the dungeon will also be darker. And this is the format that I want to follow. So let me show you kind of what I mean here. So let's choose a light color, maybe this light kind of blue color right here. And I'm going to come into here, and I'm going to start drawing. Let's see, we'll come 4 pixels out like this, and come down. This right here would be the top of a wall, okay? And then we would come up and we would have a corner to this wall, whatever this is going to look like that. And then we would come this way and have another wall top like this. And then we would come out just like we did before and come down this way. If you hold shift in a sprite, you can draw a line from your previous click to your next one. So a nice little tip. I used G to switch to fill there, and I'll use B to switch back to brush. And we can come all the way over here to here to here, and we can start to fill these in as well. G to fill in that area. So now we've got kind of the walls, or the tops to the walls, I should say. So then this area outside of the walls is going to be void. So we're going to fill this. We'll come, oops, switch back to our brush, draw from here to here to here to here to here, and then fill this in like that. So we've got the start to our dungeon here. We're going to need to have our floors be a little bit brighter than the tops of the walls, but we want the floors to be a different value than the tops of the walls. So I don't know if we're going to actually do this color that's quite so bright. We might come a little bit darker like this, and then do our floor this brighter color. And these colors are very temporary, by the way. I'm just choosing basically some colors on here that have the right value. We'll be changing these later. So now we're going to press the M key. This will allow us to select this right here, and we can then move it down. And why am I doing that? And copy this tile right here. Move it down to here. Copy this tile right here. Oops. And move it down to here. This lets us start to set up a larger area to work with in this dungeon. Not a super large one. We're copying some tiles around. This seems like it would be the place where Pixel Edit would be useful. But, you know, this is going to be fine too. The reason Pixel Edit's so good for this kind of thing is because if you change this tile, it will change all three of these, which we're going to probably end up doing later. But we're working in a small environment here. In fact, I might even copy this back over here so we have less stuff to copy around. Okay. But what we're going to need now is to create some sort of a wall right here. And the wall, we're going to be darker again. I'm going to grab maybe this value. Let's see how dark this is. Okay. Like that. Press G to fill it in. I was holding Shift to do the edges. And then we'll grab our even lighter value and fill it in there. Okay. So now we've gone with the floor is brightest, then the tops of the walls is kind of bright, and then this is dark, and then this is the darkest. And we can actually trim so that we've only got this area right now. Well, I don't know that I want to do that quite yet, actually. Let's see if we can. Let's not show the grid. There we go. I just want to see what it looks like without the grid. So we don't have any texture on this. We don't have any details at all. But you can already kind of see the dungeon kind of look to it. So let's start adding a little bit more detail to this. Let's show our grid again. And I'm going to grab this color right here. Oops, we'll switch back to brush. And we'll add in some edges here. Using Shift again. And we'll add an edge to the bottom of the wall. The grid makes it. I could probably change the grid settings. No, it doesn't look like there's like an alpha value. I'd like to change the alpha value of the grid. So they do have a tiled mode, but it looks a little bit like it might just tile. Yeah, it just tiles the whole thing. So, oops. Control Y. Let's turn off tiled mode. And we'll turn on, or we'll hide the grid again so we can see. We had this right here. Okay. Now let's start adding some of those details in. So let's do view, grid settings. Oops, view, show, grid. And I think I might actually make this outer edge larger. I'm just gonna add, oops, 1 pixel outline to the whole bit here. Like that. Okay, and then we can start drawing some bricks in here. Like this. Go here. 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 Like that. Okay, so these bricks are going to be, well, this is, we need to think about perspective here a little bit. Since this is a wall, we want these bricks to be kind of skinny looking. And the reason is because they're going to, well, we're 16 by 16, so how many of these can we do? 4 probably. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. There we go. Now it's even. And then we'll do a couple of these. Something like this. There. And let's see how it looks tiled. We'll copy this over. So I'm going to do move again. Paste it right over here. And it looks pretty good tiled. So let's do, so these ones are thinner, kind of taller looking. The ones up here are going to be, well, so these ones also are going to be thinner. So let's do, we could have them line up exactly like this. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I actually want this to be more like a square edge like that. Yeah. So could go perfectly even like that. Or we could try and offset them just a little bit. So like come down 2 for each one. Like this. That way they're in the middle. I think that's going to look better, personally. Could have that last one be long. And let's copy this down and see how this looks. Okay. Oops. Switch back to my brush. Okay, so because of perspective, these ones are going to be closer together and these ones are going to be farther apart. So we'll do 2 here. So it would be here, 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 and here. And then have the edge right there, just like the others. Is that the same distance? It looks like I didn't quite go the same distance. There we go. Go in the middle of each one of these. There we go. And we'll hide our grid for a second here. Okay, so this bit right here doesn't look good. Because we've got the 2 black lines. Everything else is starting to look pretty okay. So we'll need to figure out a solution to that. Let's put our grid back on. And I'm going to be creating tiles within this. So like this. Wonder if we want to go. But probably those won't be that color, actually. I don't think we're going to need our grid for a bit. We can work with this now. So what can we do here? If we take off this, it takes it off right here too, because they're the same tile. So we have to have kind of that edge there. One of the things we can do is you can give an edge to everything on a specific side. But then we'll get an edge on our walls here. So that does make it a little tricky. But that is kind of more what people do. They'll give it a specific edge. So we'll say bottom right is our edge. We can come in, let's add this right here. This. We can have it go slightly lighter over here. Or, even better, we'll go lighter on the same side, I think. There's my mouse dying on me a little bit. And that's way too bright, but we'll deal with colors in a minute here. So you don't want to lose track of your tiles. So we might need to keep grid on a little bit more. So can we get rid of this? No, we have to get rid of this side. if we do them this way, like this. Then we have to have this over here, which forces us to have an edge for our wall, which might be fine, to be honest. The other solution, the easy solution actually, is just to have these two tiles be different and have this one just have an exception. And I think that's the right solution. We have to have two different tiles, but it's not really that hard to have just one more tile here and one more tile here that are slightly different from these ones. And it makes our life a whole lot easier. So I think that's the right solution here in this case. There we go. Here to here. And let's do our view. And we'll hide our grid. And that's looking pretty good already. And we haven't even really done lighting or anything. This is just the very basics of here's the outline for what it's going to look like. And yeah, I think I prefer it with the slightly longer edges. It looks fine. So now what we're going to do, and this is where a sprite becomes a little useful. We're going to come into our palette here, and we're going to create palette from current sprite. Okay, and that just creates a palette from our current sprite over here, as you can see. And then we're going to order this by brightness probably. So we start darker and we come to lighter like this. Then what we want to do is we want to basically manage these colors in a way that kind of makes them all feel like they're part of the same palette, because they kind of feel slightly separated. Like this gray right here needs a lot more blue in it. So we're going to grab this gray and we're going to move it to our blue. Let's see where this one is. It's right in the middle of blue there. I'm actually going to move this to purple a bit. Okay. Oh, actually undo that. So once we've got our palette here, we want this to switch. We want to switch our color mode to indexed. Now, when you switch your color mode to indexed, what that's going to do is allow you to change the colors on your sprite by changing them over here. So we've got our blue here, and we can switch more to purple, and you can see it automatically changes as I switch. So we'll come here, we're going to come clear to blue, and then we're going to add some color, some saturation, I should say, so moving to the right here. Okay, we're going to grab our next color, and this is going to be lighter blue. Like that. And then these ones are already kind of in the right area, green, and then, well, what's this one? This one needs to be closer to green here, like that, okay? But this one we're going to darken quite a bit because it's too bright. Okay, there we go. And it's already a pretty interesting little dungeon. And we might do this darker color here. Like that. And use this color in a few areas on our tiles. Maybe they're cracked a bit. Okay, we've got two different cracked tiles here. And now I'm getting a little ahead of myself going into lots of details and stuff. We'll probably end up having one of these that splits because generally that looks pretty good. So let's make that tile that splits nicely. Like this. Why does this fill off? Because it doesn't feel that bad. I kind of feel like we don't need our brighter tone up here. Or maybe on this side. It's kind of weird that I've got it on this side. Might add this to the corners. We'll end up doing a bunch more with these tiles probably later anyways. Yeah, my mouse is going weird on me. But that gives us a nice basic place to start from. We'll also probably want to have one of these that's just plain. So we'll just stick that over here and make a plain one. Doesn't have any cracks or anything in it. Like that. So let's add a bit more lighting to this. This color still feels a little bit bright to me. There we go. I love to be able to alter the color right here, have it immediately reflect in the image. That's one of the things that I really like about a sprite is switching. You start off, then you get a palette, a simple palette, and then you can easily switch to color mode up here whenever you need to. It's got some extra stuff right there. So then we could add a little bit of detail to these bricks like this. That. And maybe just the top ones. It kind of depends on what you want to do. You could have a few of these. How much do we want these other ones to stick out? You could have a few. You'd have to see how this tiles, but you can do some stuff like that to add a little bit of depth to the bricks on the wall. And then the ones up here at the top, we're going to do some similar stuff to what we did. Well, we want to use this color, the floor's color. Gonna add a similar edge in the same way that we had on our tiles on the floor. And then shade them as well. The wall color. Like that. They're already kind of shaded with this color, so maybe we just hit our corners. These two bottom corners. But that color. Yeah, it might make sense to use this color up here actually. Let's see. And our dungeon is looking pretty cool if I do say so myself. We could add this edge to all of this to help it transition to the dark color a little bit better. Let's see if I like that. I'm gonna just try it and see if it looks good. Yeah, well, I like it except for up here. So I like it on the left side, but not the top, basically it needs to follow our lighting. And currently our lighting says bottom right. On the top edge, we would actually have more of this color, like this. How we do this to make it feel even. Pretty sure we'd have to bring this out. Come on, mouse, we can make it. We can make it through this video with your help. Don't die on me now, mouse. Don't die on me now. It makes it pretty hard to do some of this stuff. Oh, goodness. Oh, wait, I wanted that there. That's for my... Oh, I might want this here too, actually. Do I? No, I want it to go all the way up, I think. I don't know if I actually like that on there. It might actually look best to just have it in the one spot. So we'll just do that. It's hard. That's a hard decision to make. They both look pretty good. And that's when you just pick one and move on, I think. Shift is really helpful when you're drawing a bunch of straight lines. Just start the line, hold shift, and then finish it. And we could actually just copy paste this around too. Once again, I press the move key. And voila. I think we're going to call it good for this video. I'm going to move some of these around a bit. But this is pretty much the end of the video, so we'll do this, and we'll make our dungeon bigger. And I might add that this doesn't include like inside corners. So like what happens if this wall turns and goes up this way? It doesn't include that. The way that we've set it up, you might be able to pull it off, kind of. Let's see. So let's imagine we have this, we grab this tile right here, right? And then we do Control C, Control V, and we put it, where do you put it, right? If you put it right here, it doesn't work. We don't have an inside corner, an inside edge with this tile set right now. Making one would be mixing this tile right here with this whole section right here. Let's turn our grid back on again. Grid. Here we go. With this whole section right here. Oops. My mouse died on me there. Just copy that right onto here. And then you would grab this line right here and draw it all the way down here. And you would erase a few of these. Like this. Come on, mouse. I believe in you. Probably add that there. Might have to bring this down so this bit makes more sense. And there you go. You've made an inside corner. The reason I didn't do this is because I actually don't need it for the game that I'm making. But for most games, you probably would need these inside corners. You know. We'll just stick it over here for now. We don't want to waste it. Maybe one day I will end up needing it. But yeah, like I said, for this game, I'm not going to need inside corners because my dungeon isn't going to have inside corners in it. I'm forcing the game to have let's see, one of these is different from the other one, isn't it? Yeah, so I need this one. Oops. Come all the way over. Once again, this is where tiled would shine, but this isn't too bad. A sprite you can work with this. It's not terrible to do this. Tiled is better at it, I think. But if you only have the money to buy one of them, I actually prefer A sprite overall as an editor. Tiled is, or not tiled, but pixel edit, sorry. Pixel edit is just so much better at tiles. Why am I doing these one at a time? I could do them at the same time. Make sure this actually looks good, right? Do all of this at once. Boom. There we go. I really actually don't like this little bit right here. But I don't mind that one over there on that corner. Creates a new tile, but we'll just deal with it. And then let's, right now I'm just kind of making a mock-up using the tiles. Put one of these down here. Put one of these up here. Maybe one right here. We'll grab our base tile that we didn't use. Just move it. Copy this around in our dungeon. Here we go. Let's hide our grid. Grab this back color right here. I don't want to lose this, so I do want to hang on to it because it's useful. Do G to fill in the whole background. And that's a pretty good looking dungeon right there. This doesn't take into account, let's say, if there would be a tile right here that the player could move on to. It kind of ignores that fact, but that's something that you could kind of, I don't know. One solution to that is to add like, oops, switch back to brush. Come over here. You could add the dungeon kind of gradually coming down right here for a little ways. To try and show a little bit more of that depth. You know, which gives you another tile. I don't know. That might actually be worse doing that. I don't actually like that. But you could do your walls, your wall edge coming down right here, and then have some layered system so when your player moves behind that wall, you can still see behind the wall. But for the game that I'm going to make, I personally think it will be better to just leave it like this and have the player imagine that they don't need to know about down there. Doesn't really need to go that direction. And wait, where's this? This black edge doesn't really need to be there, actually. Yeah. I think this whole bit needs to come up. And then we just put this. Yeah, we'd have to just do that though. Oops, G to fill this in. I think I did that wrong. I think it's right the way it is. Show grid. There we go. It just... We've just got... an extra black line. When I zoom out, I don't like the way that looks. And it's on both this edge and this edge right here. And I think the way that you fix it is by filling in this bit like this. You have to use the darker color for the bottom, for the floor. But I think that's fine to use the darker color for the floor. And then you have to move all of this up. Well, like that. I held Control to copy it. And then you have to move all of this over. Let's turn our grid back on so I can make sure I didn't mess this up. But yep, that's correct. But it does give us a special case. See this special case right here? I think that can be fixed. And that actually fixes our special case, I think. If we just make all of our tiles come over by one. Let's grab this. Come on. There we go. Like that. We have to copy this over a bunch of times now. But it removes our special case. See? Huh, now it's perfect. We need to do it up here as well. Do our brush, come up. I've just got pen easily accessible there. We can press the M key to copy this whole section. Worked like a charm. We removed our edge cases. Apparently had an edge case here that I wasn't paying attention to as well, but that's fine. View, show, grid. There we go. I like it. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's not like the greatest piece of pixel art, but I think it turned out pretty good. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something. If you did, give me a like, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my website if you'd like to support me once again, and I will talk to you all later.